Welcome to Now Hear This Canby podcast. I'm Tyler Clawson, and this is what's happening this week in our community. A 44-year-old man drowned in the Clackamas River on Sunday after jumping into the river from a cement water intake at the Riverside Park in Clackamas. Officials with the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office said the man leapt from the intake, which was located in the middle of the river, and disappeared under the water. Family members called 911 after other swimmers were unable to locate him. Personnel from Clackamas Fire recovered the victim shortly after deputies arrived at the scene. Medics tried for over 30 minutes to revive the victim, but were unsuccessful. In another heat-related call later that day, search and rescue volunteers responded to help retrieve a hiker suffering from dehydration symptoms. Two hikers on the Pacific Crest Trail near Ramona Falls called in the incident after encountering another hiker who appeared to have heat stroke. Clackamas Search and Rescue members of American Medical Response's Reach and Treat team deployed into the field, assisted by Mount Wave Emergency Communication. Trail runners reached the patient at approximately 11:50 p.m., and paramedics and rescuers administered fluids and then transported the patient on a wheeled litter across the Sandy River to a trailhead about 5.5 miles away. The man was able to hike out the last mile of trail himself and declined transport to the hospital. All told, rescuers covered 11 miles of trail, crossed the Sandy River 4 times, and climbed 2,100 feet over the course of the mission. Area officials also responded to 3 other water rescues over the weekend, rescuing a total of 4 individuals on the Clackamas River who were exhibiting heat stroke symptoms or became stranded. An impaired driver was arrested last week after crashing his SUV through a fence and into a motor home in Clackamas County, then fleeing the scene after a fire broke out at the crash scene and damaged nearby power lines. Mario Verduzco, 30 years old, of Portland, allegedly drove his 2007 Toyota RAV4 into a motorhome parked on a homeowner's property at Southeast 190th and Tillstrom Road in Damascus shortly before 3 a.m. on Monday. The SUV reportedly drove nearly 200 feet off the roadway and damaged a Verizon wireless pole, a PGE electrical box, and a retaining wall before hitting the motorhome, according to the police. After the crash, Verduzco reportedly left the scene. The collision sparked a fire that set both vehicles on fire, likely due to a propane tank explosion. The fire damaged nearby power lines and ignited the grass around the crash site, with flames nearing the residence. Clackamas Fire was called out to the fire while PGE personnel handled the power line damage. Deputies advised the homeowner and his dog to evacuate and alerted a neighbor about the potential fire hazard. Deputies later found Verduzco about a half-mile away from the crash site on Southeast Tillstrom Road. A breath test showed that his blood alcohol content was 0.11, over the legal limit of 0.08. As a result, he was arrested and charged with hit and run, reckless driving, and driving under the influence of intoxicants. The incident caused significant damage to the homeowner's property, officials said, including the destruction of the motorhome and damage of the power lines. A half-mile away from the crash site on Southeast Tillstrom Road, a breath test showed that his blood alcohol content was 0.11, over the legal limit of 0.08. As a result, he was arrested and charged with hit and run, reckless driving, and driving under the influence of intoxicants. The incident caused significant damage to the homeowner's property, officials said, including the destruction of the motorhome and damage of the power lines. Though there is still a little work left to do in and around it, the new roundabout at Tolliver Road and Highway 213 in Molalla is nearly complete and officially open after a 2-month closure. The project, a joint effort between ODOT and the city of Molalla, will continue to have intermittent lane closures as the finishing touches are added around the intersection. But as of this past weekend, traffic was flowing through the new look and presumably safer intersection. ODOT encourages residents, especially those unfamiliar with roundabouts, to take it slowly. Look for signs and watch for people on bikes and walking. Yield to traffic already in the roundabout and wait for a gap, then safely merge. Once in the roundabout, move around the circle. Don't pass bikes. To exit, use your signal to watch for people using the crosswalk. Cyclists should navigate the roundabout like a motor vehicle would, or use the sidewalk and crosswalks. If you use the sidewalk, yield to people walking. Travel at a walking speed or walk your bike. Pedestrians should travel only on the sidewalk or in designated crosswalks when preparing to cross. Watch for oncoming traffic and make sure that they stop for you before proceeding. Cross one direction of travel at a time and wait at the islands in the crosswalk until your path is clear. Do not enter a roundabout when emergency vehicles are approaching. Pull over to the right and allow other vehicles to clear the intersection so the emergency vehicles can move through the roundabout. The $10.26 million project came about after a study of the intersection found that between 2007 and 2016, there were 38 crashes at the intersection, with 83% of those resulting in injury. Design of the intersection was completed in 2022, and utility work began in the spring, with construction following over the summer. Portland General Electric praised its customers this week for collective actions that officials said helped reduce energy use and ease pressure on the grid during last week's record-setting heat wave. The action by customers, coupled with PGE's own system upgrades and preparedness efforts, helped with electrical service reliability during an intense week of oppressive heat, where temperatures reached triple digits for 4 straight days, including a high of 108 degrees on Monday, August 14th. That was the 3rd hottest in Oregon's history. Advancements in technologies and electrifications means today's electric systems is a two-way street, PGE officials said in a press release. This creates the opportunity for customers to have a significant impact on reducing their energy use during times of peak demand. The actions by PGE customers this week reduced power demand by about 90 megawatts during peak hours on Monday, officials said, and by an initial 96 megawatts the following day when temperatures reached 104. These results helped PGE maintain reliable power throughout the week. PGE said employees worked diligently on several efforts to address or prevent potential heat-related issues, including adding extra cooling systems to help keep essential distribution equipment from overheating and staffing additional crews to quickly and efficiently respond to any outages. The utility also activated demand response programs and encouraged its commercial and industrial customers to reduce electrical use. Extreme temperatures create intense demand for electricity, especially during the evening when people typically return home from work, turn up their air conditioner, and run dishwashers and other appliances. Reducing energy use during these times alleviates stress on the grid and electrical equipment, helping utilities continue to provide reliable power to customers throughout the day. You can help support these efforts by setting your thermostat carefully during peak hours and running the air conditioner during the day only when you're home. If temperatures cool down enough for comfort, consider turning the AC off at night and opening the windows to cool with outside air. Avoid using large electrical appliances like ovens, dishwashers, washing machines during peak morning and evening periods, and turn off any and all unnecessary electrical equipment like home entertainment systems, computers, copiers, and lights when not in use. PGE offers several programs to reward customers for reducing usage during peak times, but only about a quarter of its residential users are enrolled. The utility reports as the Pacific Northwest continues to see record-breaking summers and winters, PGE encourages customers to check out these programs. Learn more at portlandgeneral.com. The Canby Ferry will be closed for service between 9 a.m. and noon Tuesday, August 29th and Wednesday, August 30th for crews to install fiber optic lines. Officials said the ferry will reopen at noon both days and continue until the regular closing time of 6 p.m. The work had originally been set for August 22nd and 23rd of this week, but was delayed for unknown reasons. The Canby Ferry crosses the Willamette River between Canby and Wilsonville. The ferry runs from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. 7 days a week, except on major holidays and when the water level rises to 70 feet or higher or during inclement weather. Each day, the ferry pauses for service from 1 to 1:30 p.m. for staff to have a lunch break. Check in for regular updates at www.bit.ly/Canby Ferry or by calling the Canby Ferry information line at 503-650-3030.